Impressed. I'm impressed. Or at 9 o'clock. All right. All right, good morning. We're going to call this meeting to order. It is September 3rd, 2025. It is 9:01 a.m., and this is the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners meeting. If you'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. We'd like to take a moment of silence for individual prayer, reflection, and meditation. We take this time to honor and remember our first responders and the men and women in our military who keep us safe and protect our freedoms at home and abroad. Next, announcements by the chair. There are no additions, deletions, or modifications to today's agenda. Chair Dance is excused, as well as Chair Hansen, who couldn't make it to our meeting today. Upcoming commission meetings, workshops. First public budget hearing will be Thursday, September 11th at 5:01 p.m. There will be a workshop Monday, September 15th at 1 p.m. I believe we don't have a type of workshop we're having yet, do we, for the 15th?
I could look it up. I'm not sure what we have on the agenda.
Right. And then we'll work on that. Regular meeting, our next meeting will be Monday, September 15th at 5 p.m. Those are our meetings. So after that, we'll go ahead and move on to our recognitions, proclamations, and presentations. We have no recognitions today, but we do have a proclamation for Preparedness Month, September 2025. Mr. Lord, welcome. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and, does anyone want to read this so you can make the motion? Well, someone's going to have to make the motion. I know. Sorry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners recognizing September 2025 as Preparedness Month in Flagler County. Whereas natural disasters and human-caused emergencies have the real possibility of impacting our community, and whereas the government agencies and disaster organizations cannot bear their sole responsibilities in preparing for and responding to these disasters, and whereas during Preparedness Month, September 2025, community members are encouraged to take time and educate and prepare themselves and those in their care for emergencies and disasters that can impact our community for extended periods of time. And whereas Flagler County community members who are prepared can be a positive influence on their neighbors by sharing their preparedness plans and encouraging friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers to be prepared too. And whereas the Board of County Commission firmly believes the more people are prepared, the quicker our community will recover, resulting in a profound positive impact on the quality of life in Flagler County. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that we hereby declare September 2025 as Preparedness Month in Flagler County, encouraging our community to be ready for disasters and emergencies by visiting flaglercounty.gov/emergency or calling the Emergency Operations Center at 800-313-4200 to sign up for Alert Flagler emergency notifications, get a copy of the Emergency Preparedness Guide, and to find information on our community training opportunities, including our Community Emergency Response Team course, as well as details about get a disaster kit, make a disaster plan, being informed of the risks in our community, and getting involved in community preparedness. Adopted this third day of September, signed, attested to Tom Bexley, Circuit Court Comptroller, Clerk of Circuit Court, and Flagler County Board of Commissioners, Andrew Dance.
You want to make a motion?
Go ahead. I'll make a motion that we declare September 2025 as Preparedness Month in Flagler County.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Carney, a second from Ms. Richardson. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Mr. Lord, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jonathan Lord, your Emergency Management Director. I brought my small but mighty team, our emergency management team. This is 100% of us here today. I think you know most, if not all of them. And this is not just Flagler County's Emergency Preparedness Month. This is National Emergency Preparedness Month. It has been for a few decades now. I think this has been a great year for us in emergency management. As you all know, we have the shelter project. We're working with the engineering department and a vendor to have that come on board. Within the next few months, we're hoping that we actually start seeing work out of the site as early as October. So things are moving quite quickly with that project. You all saw that we got a new, stronger roof on the EOC, since it is meant to be, I hate to say this, but it's true, it's meant to be that last building standing. So to make that building that much more secure and stronger, particularly during hurricanes, it was great that we were able to get a grant for that as well. And then actually in honor of National Preparedness Month and the fact that it's really more about the community and less about us, we're actually kicking off monthly emergency preparedness trainings we're starting as of this month. So we've always been going out to community groups, but we also wanted to sometimes get one or two people that want a class, and instead of us going up to them, we're actually going to start teaching them once a month in the EOC, sometimes in the morning, the afternoon, maybe even in the evenings in the coming year. So that's a new thing we're kicking off this month. This afternoon, the communications department is putting a press release out about Preparedness Month to include the fact that we're kicking off that new program. So we're very, very excited about that. And obviously, as we all know in the news, there's a lot of changes that we aren't sure what it means for FEMA. But no matter what happens at the federal level, I just want you all in our community to rest assured that your team here is dedicated to making sure our community is taken care of and ready to deal with whatever comes our way.
Great.
Thank you so much. Would you like to come up for a
Yes,
picture?
please.
There's only 3 of us up here.
Only,
We're not as good looking as the gentleman.
only 3.
The best three. The best three. Thank you, guys. Thank you for keeping all those photos. Ladies, thank you. I still love your video on the radio. The radio. Love your radio story. It was great.
Does anybody follow Bob Pickering on the
What's that?
Facebook?
On Facebook, no.
Yeah, I live
We're
vicariously through
friends,
his
but
trips.
we don't.
He travels more
I
than
never know
any
what
of
you're
us.
going to see from Bob Pickering. He's a special.
Follow
He's
him
a
for more.
special person.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so next is our community outreach. This is 30-minute time period. It's been allocated for public comment on any consent agenda item or topic not on the agenda. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the commission. Speakers should approach the podium, identify themselves, and direct comments to the chair. Do we have any speakers of items not on the consent? No? I saw you here, so I wanted to give you a minute.
Got some magic in that box. Uh-oh.
Where we-
Uh-oh. Oh.
My mind goes to a million places.
Good
Richard.
morning, Commissioners. Richard Hamilton, resident of Island Estates. I'll try and make this as brief as I can, since there's only 3 of you here. But what I really wanted to do was just quickly address an item. It's not on the agenda, but it's the elephant in the room.
Oh,
Nice.
got it.
So I brought the elephant in the room to show it up. This is really this notice of a special assessment. Now, this is not the time to be talking about it, really, because you've got a meeting coming up on September 11th. But what I did want to talk about is question whether, as you discuss things, your agenda for the September 11th is really not going to give you adequate time both to address the regular budget for the county and the issues that still have to be discussed and resolved. You've already seen, I don't know, over 60 letters that have been put in or in your agenda backup addressing this particular issue. Not one of them that I could read is in favor of this taxing district. In principle, because it's such a limited area of the county. There are even issues about who's really included in it. There's definitions in there that use colloquial terms like Barrier Island and east of the Intracoastal Waterway, which are defined in state statutes but don't seem to be what's actually in there. So all I just wanted to do was to ask you, if you do get a chance and you're considering later, consider whether that agenda for September 11th is really going to give you adequate time. I feel for you, honestly, because you've got so much detail to get through. You've got 20 pages of backup on the detail and the budget there. And yet, you're also going to put in there, talking about the MSBUs, the special taxing districts, which you have the Painters Hill taxing district in Seawards, which is related to the MSBU. You have the whole future of the sales tax, because a lot of people want to use a sales tax, but that itself has problems as to how long it's going to last. You know those, and you're going to have those discussions. There's the future of the tourism tax, and indeed, perhaps of the beach management plan, because it changes. It changes as you get new grants. It changes as you get new studies. It moves like the sand that's based on it. It keeps moving. It's not fixed on a coquina rock. So that's all I want to do. As I said, I feel for you because of all the amounts of detail and different issues you have to deal with. But 2 hours on September the 11th, a notable day by itself, is probably not going to give you adequate time to deal with all these issues. I'd love to say just pull everything back and keep working on it. But it's up to you. That's the only comment I wanted to make. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Anyone else for public comment?
Is your friend. You may get a desk seat.
Oh, he's serious. Anybody want the elephant? See Mr. Hamilton. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Laura Stillman. I live on the Barrier Island in Marineland Acres. To say the same thing as Richard, having been in an elected position on a city council, I understand fully what you're going through. Budget time is very difficult, and it's really difficult to have to find a way to raise money to pay for the services and everything else that you need to be doing. This is not easy, but I do want to, rather than waiting until September 11, honestly, I didn't think I'd have a chance to speak then because you are going to have a lot of people here. So I thought I'd be here today and start it off, but Richard beat me. So anyway, speaking about the plan for funding the beach nourishment, not just the first year, but in the future, this has got to be discussed. So as you know, Florida does not have an earned income tax, but instead we rely a lot on our tourists and the tourist dollars that come into our county. The county depends on it. The businesses here depend on it. Your residents depend on that. And when the tourists come to Flagler County, keep in mind they're coming here mainly for vacations, including being on the beach. So if you delay in repairing those beaches, what I see happening is that we're at serious risk of losing those tourists and the tourist dollars. The internet, they're really good about putting negative comments out on the internet. And those negative comments tend to come up anytime you do an internet search. That's what you see first, especially if there's a lot of them. And they never go away. So I am concerned about the future of our tourism, therefore the future of monies coming into Flagler County. To continue debating on this funding method is getting dangerous. We're running out of time. We need a funding method that's fair to all of the residents, because all of the residents will be negatively impacted if we lose the tourism. Everybody, not just the people on the barrier island. A fair and equitable funding method is available to you right now. It's been discussed. It's that 1/2 cent sales tax. Per state of Florida, you have the ability to raise, you as a commission, have the ability to raise the sales tax by 1/2 cent. We also have some very common sense restrictions on that. So it is risky right now to wait for a referendum vote if that's what you're thinking you want to do, because now you're going to delay the funding out even longer, putting more risk onto the beaches. So I'm asking you to please, on your September 15th commission meeting, to vote on it. Please put it on the agenda, and then please vote for that 1/2 cent sales tax. So I'm asking you to be courageous and use your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Good morning. My name is Ed Pape. I sent Ms. Carney an email. I sent several people emails, have not received any responses. Made a couple phone calls, received a response from Heidi. Let me cut to the chase. What is your alternative funding plan if you don't vote for the sales tax? If you don't want to raise taxes, I don't want to pay more, we need the funding. Either vote for the sales tax or an ad valorem increase. Sales tax gives you a multiplier as the county grows. Inflation, costs, county's going to grow, the money's going to increase. In a year from now, nobody's going to feel bad about spending an extra $50 or $100 a year if they spend $10,000, $20,000 a year on taxable purchases. They're not even going to remember. I'd like to hear today, I know you won't give me an answer, but what would be your alternative? You can't just obstruct and say, let's kick it down the road another 10 years. We have to have answers. You have a viable, painless solution today. You wait until when it goes to referendum, it's going to fail. The weak minds in Palm Coast will say, I don't go to the beach. I don't want to pay more. Neither do I. I live on the barrier island. I live in Marineland Acres. I don't want to pay more. I already paid $14,000 a year in property tax. When I bought the house in 2021, they were $7,400. I'm homesteaded now. I couldn't live down here full time, so I went several years unhomesteaded. So I already pay a disproportional amount. What I think would be fair is ask yourself, if you don't vote for the sales tax now, and you wait till it goes to referendum, you put in the verbiage in March, April, you lose the ability to give us that vote because it's going to go to the election board. Do you think after it fails, you've got the spine to pass an ad valorem or a sales tax? No. Your careers are on the line. It was voted down. This is your chance right now, not in 6 months, not in a year, right now. You have to do the right thing or leave us unprotected. Listen, my lot is elevated 48 inches. My neighbors during the last hurricanes had 4 feet of water in their house. It didn't touch my driveway. I can afford to pay you the money you want. But 6,300 properties are only less than 5% of the county's 82,000 properties. You want 5% of us to cover payment for the other 95% of the county parcels? Not fair, not equitable. It won't stand. It won't pass the smell test when you have to pass it. Because after the tax fails, you're going to have to take in charges. We're not going to stand for $2,000 a year, $1,500 a year. It won't fly. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, I close public comment.
Can I make a comment?
We can address it now if you'd like, or you can wait to
Well,
finish your comment.
that's my comment.
Okay.
Is I do have some statements towards the under comments about the letter itself. I didn't realize it was on the agenda. We did take a vote not to do the half-cent sales tax. I don't know if we have to turn that vote around. It failed 4-1. So the letter is here, and what we need to talk about on, you can't speak, sir, you already had your time. The half-cent sales tax is not on the agenda. What's on the agenda is the MSBU. Understanding that this letter failed you terribly, number one, because it did not mention one word about your benefit, why the benefit. The letter failed you and me because I never saw it first. It went out without this board seeing the letter. The concept is good or mentioned. The MSBU is not being levied this year, so I don't know what we're going to talk about on the 11th. We will because it's not on the agenda for the 11th, to take a vote on the half-cent sales tax. I don't see it going anywhere on the 11th, nor the 15th. This board has already taken its position on the half-cent sales tax. So, and again, I'm going to go into it a little more thoroughly after the meeting or during comments, but I have read them all, Mr. Pape. I did see your response to Commissioner Cunningham, which I did not appreciate, so that's why I did not respond to you. I can have a one-on-one with you anytime, but going back and forth on emails and stating my position on anything in an email, I think we should talk about it. I'm not so sure we have to go back and forth on emails. With the other two gentlemen not here today, they may feel differently on the 11th about discussing the half-cent sales tax, but that we have a beach plan and funding for 2026. My concern is the rest of the Barrier Island is not on board with the MSBU, which we have no control over, which I'm also going to talk about under my comments. But I looked at the agenda. It talks about the MSBU. Our study's not back yet. We can't assess anything. It's going to be a process. It is not something that's going to be decided on 9/11, mostly because we've already decided. It's a zero. There is no assessment for 2026. So that's all I'm going to say at this point, but I do have further discussion later.
We have a very short meeting, so I will save, because I can speak to my stance on it and why where I'm at on it, but I'm going to save it for, we have a commissioner comment section, so we'll go very quickly because most of our items is just consent agenda, and I'll discuss it. I think. Commissioner Carney, Commissioner Richardson, do you have any questions or comments about our consent items today?
I did have a question regarding the airport master plan. Director Seeger answered my questions. So at this point, I'm not going to pull it. I just want to say thank you for answering the questions. And this process, it's very complex, but yet I'm sure it's been done so many times in other district or other areas that it's not going to be as bad as it looks on paper. But the task sheet and the goals for this master plan, I think will definitely get us to the next level that we need to be. So thank you for the response.
Anything for you, Ms. Richardson?
I'm fine with the agenda. I already reviewed
Now-
what I wanted to review.
Okay, so any items you'd like to pull from consent?
I'd like to pull 7M.
7M, that is consideration of fiscal year 2024 budget transfer from reserves to operating within the health insurance fund? Yes. Okay. Any other items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, if I could
sorry.
interject.
Sure.
Looking at the agenda, item 7C, D, and E should have reflected a 1-year. If you look at the staff report, it mentions the 1-year agreement that would allow staff to be able to go out and bid this the following year. However, the attached agreement that's there says 5-year. So if we could, I'd like to pull 7C, D, and E for the city of Bunnell, Flagler Beach, and Palm Coast. It's the ILA agreement for consolidated software maintenance. The sheriff's reflects the correct number on the staff report as well as the interlocal. It's the other 3 that were in error that said 5-year. They were supposed to have been changed to a 1-year.
So do you want to move that to
The next meeting
to the
on
next
September
meeting?
15th, if we could?
9:15?
Thank you.
Okay, so if you're going to make a motion, it would be C, D, E, and M.
If we pull C, D, E, and M in our motion, Attorney Rodriguez, do we need to make it time sensitive for the next meeting?
Well, you're pulling, as to C, D, and E, those items will be tabled to the, to the next meeting. So as for M, I believe you're pulling it for the purposes of discussion, and then that would be, if your intent is to vote on that today, there's no issue of time sensitivity.
So we just table.
Right, C, D, and E are being tabled and then, and moved to the next meeting. So there's no issue of timing and there's no issue of additional advertisement
Okay,
for
so
those.
I'll motion to approve consent items 6A and B, 7A, B, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N. And I'll, in my motion, table 7C, 7D, 7E.
And
Okay, so
pulling.
we have a motion to table items 7C, D, and E. And did you mention M?
No, and pulling M.
Pulling M and approving 7N.
Wow, and pulling M.
If I could just have that C, D, and E are being tabled to the next county commission meeting of the September 15th.
That's so changed, yep.
All right, so we have a motion to pull items 7, D, and E and table them to September 15th, meeting time certain, and pull 7M for discussion. Do I have a second?
It's C, D, and E.
Yeah,
You just said 2.
C, D, and E.
Okay.
C, D, and E
We want to make sure we're clarifying that.
to the September 15th meeting,
Table to
and item 7M for discussion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a second. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No nays. Item 7M for discussion. I see Mr. Brower, we have Anita. I don't know if you're here for that particular one as well. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Madam Chair. John Brower, Financial Services. What questions? This item in particular is moving money from the reserves in that fund to cover claims.
I just have a overall request, or would like the board to discuss. This seems to be a ever-moving process that we're going through. I would like to better understand why we are self-insured. I'd like a workshop discussion on the pros and cons of being self-insured. Self-insurance, to me, is meant for much larger corporations or businesses that have a much larger base. I know that some of our constitutional officers requested a review and chose not to go to private industry like the sheriff has done. However, I think it's time that we really need to dig in on this. Self-insurance works when you're able to pay out claims. In our jail system, our claims were exorbitant this year. We had to move money for the jail system. We continue to move money for our staff-funded self-insurance program. Don't know when was the last time we actually pulled this item for review for efficiency, and it just seems like a loser to me. So could I get some help getting this on a workshop so that we could better understand our financial position and whether or not we're in good standing. If this plan were in the private sector, would we meet the standards and the criteria that the private sector that provides insurance meet? Do we have the same capacity to fund claims, and how long can we do that? Just some basic understanding of why we're self-insured and if we meet the criteria, and would a private sector insurance program better fit our needs at this point?
I too questioned, I had a long talk with one of our staff about it. I'm very concerned about the cost. We all know everything is rising. So it's not like there's a, and I know this is for a I can't speak today, but stopgap. But we'd like to, maybe we need to see a comparison chart of what is available out there. And if we haven't looked to see if there's other better options, at least we might be able to get to see that and review it, to be more comfortable with it, or to move into a different direction. It's confusing enough. It's
Madam Chair, so
insurance.
my backup coming in. The basic rule is we're always looking to improve no matter what we're doing.
Of course.
I know we're always looking at it. There's people that can speak to the actual numbers of the health insurance a lot better than I can. So if you don't, I'll send to you.
I don't want a presentation right now on why or what we have going on right now. I get it. We're going to fund this. I get it. I want something moving forward. I don't want to sit in a 3-minute discussion or 5-minute discussion. I want to actually get into the nuts and bolts of self-insurance. Why, when, how much more we need to keep this thing going. It looks like a loser to me, and your eyebrows went up. So I know you know what I'm talking about.
It is expensive, Madam Chair.
Sometimes it's hard to make change, but sometimes it's needed. And I can't keep funding this in my own mind until I have a better understanding of why.
A grip on it.
That's where I am.
It's a grip on it, having a grip on it and understanding the benefits and the downfalls at the same time. That has to be acceptable in some mind.
Absolutely. No problem at all. We can just work with the administrator, get on a workshop. Is that what the?
Are you asking for like a not just workshop, but also when they have, let's say we agree to a workshop on health insurance in general. Do you want them, are you asking that they come back with a comparison to the private market? Yes. Okay. Because I think
Absolutely.
there
That
needs
would
to
be
be more
And our
direction if
history as the
that's
time has gone on.
costs to us out of the reserves. Because I know since I've been here, we've always had to pull from the reserves for it. We're always plugging the gap on it.
Well, what worked 8 years ago may not be working today. And I know there was something done for the constitutionals. I did ask one of the constitutionals why they didn't move forward, and they said the time isn't right. So maybe we can get the constitutionals involved. I don't know what you presented to them. I did see a letter, but I would like to hear the same thing.
Okay. So, Ms. Petito, let's do a consensus first of all. You're asking for a future workshop on the health insurance plan and to also include a comparison to private insurance in that workshop so that they're not just talking about the plan. We actually can see what options would be.
It's more
and
on
we
the
don't need that.
review of what's available to us.
Right.
Hi, I'm Sherry Beignet. I'm with the Bailey Group, your benefit consultant. Just for clarification, when you mention private insurance, I'm assuming you are talking about fully insured premium rates for the group plan, not individual health insurance policies for all of the individual employees, correct?
I think that's what
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I have clarification on that. Just so you are aware, it probably is a 6 to 8 week, maybe not quite that long process for me to get the fully insured quotes from your current carrier, and then if we wanted to go out to market, of course, we could do that. You are a 10-1 group, so we've just finished our open enrollment. Everything is established for the upcoming plan year, but I think it's a great thing to workshop so that you can understand the advantages and the few disadvantages of self-funding. I still think it's the right fit for you, but I absolutely understand the reasoning behind wanting to understand it better. So, for sure, absolutely.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Okay, so the consensus from all three is to have a workshop at least
time
8 to
certain,
10 weeks
sometime.
out regarding the health insurance plan.
What's that?
Does that sound okay?
It
That's
sounded
fine.
like it's going to take her.
You said it would take about 6 to 8 weeks, Sherry?
At least.
Okay, so what's this?
All ready for this year.
I was going to say, why don't we start that at the beginning of the year? I think we should move it to the beginning of the year, so we don't want to put any pressure on you. We're going to be doing this, but we want to make sure that we're healthy and going in a better direction, in the right direction. Put it that way, whatever the best direction is. How's that? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll need a motion for 7M.
I'll make a motion that we,
Workshop.
that we approve 7M.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do we need public comment on this particular item? We'd like,
We've already had public comment
For all
on
the
the consent,
consent,
so this already been brought to the public.
all right. I have a motion by Ms. Carney and a second by Ms. Richardson. All in favor for approving 7M, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, 7M passes. All right, we're on to
Thank you,
general.
Mr. Brower.
Thank you, Mr. Brower. We're on to 8, and I believe that would be Ms. Albany's talking about our legislative items for discussion. We've got a pamphlet we should have on it.
Good morning, Commissioners. Holly Albanese, Legislative Liaison. I'm here to talk about the priorities. We met last time. We kind of narrowed down, so I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. But we do need to have an agenda today because we do have our delegation meeting set for September 19th at 3 o'clock. So just to go over the policy priorities, I took into consideration your direction from the last meeting, and I tried to combine stuff, put the policy issues at the top, and we still have SB 180, the SB 1622, which has to do with the beach issues, and then the policy position. This was a new one that came to me last week, actually, on the fifth penny for the tourism development tax. Right now, only certain counties are allowed to get that fifth penny. So we're looking for the legislature to make changes to that Florida statute so that smaller coastal communities can also get access to that fifth penny. So that's a policy position, and I think you all received some information from the Deputy County Attorney, Sean Moylan, on this particular one and SB 1622. So, and then we go down to continue support for. You asked me to sort of combine those, so I did as much as I could. We still have the maintain short-term vacation rental and actually current permissible uses of tourist development taxes related to promotion, because last year they tried to, the legislature did attempt to cut that. So hopefully we can let them know that that's important to us. And then another one that was added in was the review and adjust population parameters for rural designation. This has to do with us as a Ready County. You know that we no longer qualify. We do not meet their Ready designation. And if you looked at some of the backup that I had provided in the folder, there was a Ready designation project where Florida Commerce looked at the entire Ready designation, and they looked at their phases, phase 1 through 4, and they actually called out Flagler County, that Flagler County has outgrown the phase 2, which means we're under 125,000 in population, and we are a contiguous county to another county that is Ready which was Putnam, that was under 75,000. Obviously, we no longer qualify. They said we outgrew Phase 2 in just 3 years, and that's back to 2020 when the population was 115,000. And basically, they said that to remain rural, Flagler County to remain rural, both the Phase 1 and Phase 2 population thresholds would need to be adjusted since we're adjacent to Putnam County, because they have also gone over the
I was going to say,
75,000.
didn't they go over?
Yes.
Of course they did.
So, which is part of why we no longer qualify. So both, for us to get back into ready, they would have to change that Phase 1 population, 75,000, they would have to increase that one, and then they would also have to increase the Phase 2, which is your contiguous population above 125. Right now, I haven't seen the population projections for 25 or going forward. I'm thinking it's close to 140, so we would probably need that Phase 2 to be at least 150, and I would say Phase 1 probably would need to go up to maybe 100,000 in population. But I do know that they, some of their implementation on this, this is observations and policy recommendations, is to annually validate data and reanalyze Phases 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think that this goes far enough, and I think that's why it's important to include this in our policy priorities, because while they're going to continue to reanalyze, it really doesn't talk about making adjustments based on what they find. And I think this is significant because the state of Florida has really just exploded in population over the last at least several years, at least 5 years. And so I think it's important that they look at it and make adjustments to those population numbers for Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Holly, didn't the governor say he's going to do a new census this year? And do you think if that's done, will that affect us?
Well, it definitely will affect us, because I think that they're going to find out we're probably closer to 140. I don't think that that's going to affect where we are right now. We don't qualify for ready at this point. What it may do is when they see the population for all of the counties, it may help us in that respect, because they're going to realize that in order to, that rural, the name or the status of what would be considered rural has changed in the state of Florida. And so I do feel as though they will have to make some adjustments. They just haven't yet. And I think that it's just my opinion. This is your agenda, so it's whatever the board would like to put on here. But I do think it is an important policy priority to remind our local delegates, our legislative, both Representative Greco and Senator Leek, that how important this is to Flagler County.
Right. Thank you.
But, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
How many other counties is it important to? These legislators are not going to respond
Just to Flagler.
just to Flagler County.
Okay, so-
do you have an idea?
Yep,
And I'm
they-
sorry if I missed the backup. Can you tell me, is this new? Did this just show up today?
It's in the agenda drive. I don't know if you received it or not.
have anything.
I don't
We
recall
didn't have
that.
anything.
Yeah, it was in the agenda drive last week. I can email you each a copy of this. But basically, it does say, and they give examples. So Monroe County has an estimated population of 84,000, is not considered rural by the Phase 2 analysis. Highlands, Nassau, Putnam, and Walton counties are considered rural by virtue of Phase 2, where Putnam used to be Phase 1 because they were under 75,000. So right now, I believe Putnam is contiguous to Baker, which is why like a sliver. And so, which is why they are considered rural by Phase 2 still, because their population is under 125, but they're over the 75,000.
They're also connected to St. Augustine.
St. John's would not be rural or Redding County.
So they're adjacent to that.
Right.
So that's
but it
included as
matters.
well.
All right, so you've mentioned 5 counties in addition to Flagler that
Right.
could possibly be impacted by a
This number.
redo of the ready or the rural designation. What's our advantage of being ready other than money? What's the advantage?
Well, grants, a lot of time, grants, when you apply for them, will give you more points, because if you're qualified by the number of points, and then they rank you by your points, which happens in a lot of grants, if you have that ready status, you may get more points for that, and which will rank you higher, a better chance of getting that grant. We also have scrap and SCOP. Right now, we do qualify, but the legislature changed, I think it was SCOP to 200,000, so we qualify on that population. And then the other one is based on a 1990 census, but if they ever change that from a 1990 census, and let's say they go to 2020 census, we may not qualify at that point. So right now, that's where we're at. They only list 5 counties in here as far as in this document, so they list all the municipalities in rural counties. So obviously, Bunnell is still considered a ready community, a municipality, because they fall in that population level within Flagler County, even though Flagler County as a whole does not qualify as a ready county. But they do list it. They only talk about those 5 counties that I mentioned, including Walton, Putnam, Nassau, Highlands, and then, of course, they mention Flagler County. I don't know that we're the only ones that don't meet that, the 5. I'd have to look through to see what other ones don't.
I believe that in FAC, they keep calling us a sister, like a sister county
Right.
to Nassau. They constantly compare us to Nassau.
Right.
So if Nassau is rural, and they've had as much, if not more, growth than we have, from what I understand, I may be wrong.
Well, Nassau, look at their population again, but Nassau is still considered under Phase 2. So originally it was Phase 1, but they had to move to Phase 2 because they're contiguous, according to this, contiguous to Baker, which keeps them in Ready County status, because Baker has a low enough population. They're below 75,000, so that keeps them in the Ready status. So that's why Nassau is still
We
in there.
use scrap and SCOP to pave out west.
Right.
That's how we get our funding for it. And I think it's SCOP now that's going to require a match.
Yes.
And that's new to us, which means we're going to have to come up with money every year going forward in order to get roads paved out
But I'm
west. We got
pretty
125 miles of dirt road.
I'm pretty sure that population level is 200,000, so we're still good on population to qualify for SCOP.
Right, but we'll need a
Scrap uses, like I said, the 1990 census. So under 1990 census, we still qualify because that would be under 75,000. But again, this is, the commission's agenda, so I'm happy to do whatever the commissioners want. And so so these would be our policy priorities. If there's anything on here you don't want on here, now would be the time to tell me. I'll remove it. If there's something I've missed, that would be good for me to know as well.
Is this priority in order? Is this the priority that,
If you want me to change the order, I can.
I think we did that last time.
Right, at the last meeting, we talked about
Right.
putting the policy
I
positions
just wanted to
first.
confirm that this was what we discussed. Does anybody recall?
Yeah, and 180 is the first priority. I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of questions why we don't join the lawsuit with other counties,
Right.
which we had discussed, I think, previously. We're not looking to join that lawsuit right now. It's a class action on 180, and the lawyer needs a lot of counties to join it. You also have to have funds for the appeal, which is an unknown number. He doesn't have a number on that. And we've been told that they're going to try to fix the glitch in this bill. So our board, I think, prefers to try to drive this through, speaking with our senator and House reps for now.
Yeah.
Then,
Does our attorney have a thought on that, please?
Actually saving something for my report, so.
Okay, we'll talk later
I'll
about
speak
that.
then.
all right, we're almost to that point, so then we'll talk
we're
about
almost there.
180. So,
Okay.
yes.
Again, just a
a question. Is the use of the word fix appropriate? We use it twice, item 1 and item 2, first and second. To fix the following, is that an appropriate term with
Adjust.
legislators?
I can use whatever term the board.
Right, that's
about
my
adjust?
question.
We can change it from fix to adjust
Or amend.
or amend, yes. That's a good term.
That's a little stronger.
I'll change it.
Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you okay with the order?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Are
like
you
this
okay with
format.
leaving the ready in there, or did you want it removed?
No, it needs to be in there. It needs to be in there, but I think we also may want to talk to our lobbyists who would be better suited for that discussion, because I'm not sure Mr. Leak and I don't know. I want to see what the Small County Coalition is going to be talking about it this year and doing as well.
Yeah. They may actually do that since it is affecting several communities, so.
Okay. I'll reach out to Chris Doolin just because,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
So, but if you're okay with this, we'll move on.
Move on. Yeah, we can move on.
Okay.
We're good. Thank you.
So now we're going to the priorities. We had narrowed it down to, I guess, 4 last time. So FGUA utility expansion, this is along US 1. I did have a conversation with Scott Toller. My understanding from him is that they have requested the $17 million grant, as I mentioned last time, but their project was to do septic to sewer conversion for the area north of Bay Drive and South Old Dixie Highway going north. I believe what this commission wanted was the project to be going south from Bay Drive. So I'm not sure if our projects or this would be compatible at this time. So the option is we could partner with FGUA. In talking to Scott Towler, he mentioned he only thought there was a 30% chance of getting this grant, which doesn't seem like a high enough chance. But we could partner with FGUA and submit a funding request to expand infrastructure and increase the water capacity in the same area as what they're doing with the septic to sewer. I don't believe $5 million will be enough, so we probably have to put in some sort of a match to provide the water capacity from, and I provided maps as the next page. So I'll go to that one. So where you can see, I have the north section, which shows where they're working on, and then the south section, which is what I believe originally is what our commission wanted to focus on. So it's your decision. We could go forward with this one if you want to continue with this item, and we could do the $5 million for the north section and work with FGUA, or we could just get the $5 million for the south section, but we are going to have to provide a match because FGUA is not doing anything on this portion, so we wouldn't even have, the ability to say we're working with FGUA on this and we have a match with their grant. And we won't know probably till November if they actually have been awarded the grant. So it's the decision of the board what you'd like to do with this one, but that's where this one stands. So you can phase the project on the south side. You can do the water on the north side and work with FGUA, but either way, we're going to have to provide a match, and I don't believe we have that at this time. But I know this
Could
one.
you go back to the map? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I don't believe this was, I think this was really important to the commissioners, so.
In that north section, what is predominantly in that area? That's Cemetery Road where the Strickland's house is.
I think it's, and.
Mainly housing.
Right. It's
that mulch-
mainly housing. I think it goes towards the newer community that might be coming in
It doesn't help us.
No, no, it doesn't,
Yeah.
and that's why I
Right,
said
no,
that.
it-
It's
yeah,
not going to
it
help.
changed.
Right.
The parameters changed.
What they're
doesn't help
doing
us.
is the north section, and until I spoke to Scott, I didn't realize that that's what they were
Got
doing.
it. Yeah,
So-
we really need the south section if we're going to drive industrial, commercial into the
area.
area.
You can still do this as a project if that's what you choose, but we're really going to have to come up with a match for that
To me,
one.
this just drives houses up
Right,
304 and all that area.
right. So but that's the section they're doing with the septic to sewer conversion.
Okay, so that's probably, just my opinion, not viable for us any longer as something we would.
I think we should probably look to pursue grants at
Anyone
this
else have a
point.
thought on that? Now that it's not the area.
Yeah, not having that information, it's
Too
that's not
vague,
gonna help.
just too vague.
But as we move, I mean, I can do my own research on this, but I'd like to see how much of the south section, how much of the land the county owns. I know it's in our county. I just wonder how much we own or how much how's it zoned? It's probably zoned ag. Is it ag?
No, I don't believe all of it is ag. Some of it's commercial and industrial. We do have some in there.
I'd like to see that on the map.
Right.
Yeah.
Which part is industrial?
Well, this is right, so on the left map at the top is South Old Dixie Highway. This is basically the roundabout would be right there at the top left corner. And then if you're going down on US 1 where they plan, this is all mobile home housing, a mulch facility, and then the Strickland farm and a cemetery.
Right. Yeah, again, the
That-
south portion is the one you want. Last year, I worked with growth management, and we came up with a list of parcels. I can provide that to the commission if you'd like that. As we go forward, we may not include this year, but maybe this is something that we can really work on over the course of the next year and look for grants as well.
Can you just help me on the north section? So can you tell me where the facility, I know it's Plantation Bay, can you tell me where the facility is in relation to this? Is it near Bay Drive? Is it, where is this facility?
Heidi, do you know?
Bay Drive is that gate, the main gate that you
Right.
have along, and what was the question, I'm sorry?
But where's the facility? Where is this,
FDUA's facility going
It's
to be?
off of Old Dixie. So if you're looking at this, you see where it says Maintenance Road along South Old Dixie? Kind of making a,
Next to Old Dixie
box.
Park.
oh yeah, I see it, yep.
that's where
Okay.
the utility plant is currently located.
That's where it is now?
That's where the utility plant is, and then you have your well fields north of Bay Drive. Somewhere around, there's a
Okay.
gas station access road that goes back in there.
Okay, thank you.
So do we agree that this is no longer really a project for the county at this point?
We definitely need a match on the, because that's one of the things that both Senator Leek and Representative Greco mentioned, that we really need to have a match on any of our,
No, I know, yeah.
of any of our projects.
And how
So-
much would the match have to have been?
Well, probably a $5 million match. But
It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't,
it's not ready.
well, and to me, this
They're
area
not
doesn't really suit what the county was intending.
Exactly.
We're trying to get
right.
business. We have no water hookup to bring industry or business into the county, and this corridor needs it. to
I think
bring
it's
that.
something that we just have to work with FGUA over the course of the next year on the south side, which is the area that is important to Flagler County. So we can work on that, look for grants. I did look in FDEP grants, and there really wasn't too much, and the ones that were in there were specific to areas like the Indian River Lagoon, that type of thing. So we'll have to keep looking for grants that we can utilize for this particular area.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one, again, is that construction of the Black Branch North Drainage System. We talked about this one. We'd have to come up with, I believe it was $717,000 for the design. And then we could request the $2.6 million. This is important. This happens to fall in a location where the Florida State Guard training facility, and I think that would appeal to them. Old Hall Creek Road, I believe, was resurfaced, so we can use the improvements that we did along there as part of that match.
Didn't we pursue this last year?
We did, and
Yeah,
we
they were
did,
trying to be in favor of it, but
Yeah.
it was the wrong timing, I think.
it didn't move forward. It
Right.
never got into the budget at all. It didn't get a bill number at all, so we could try again if that's something that the commission would like.
I think if we do it twice, I think it'll be more penetratable. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, so that one hasn't changed. It's just a matter of whether you want this to include this. And I do believe that this year we should prioritize these, like put them in order of priority.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the next one is, we discussed this one last time, the disaster resilience staging sites, which I believe everybody was in favor of.
Yes.
Our match would be $126,000 per location, and the total we would be requesting is $548,000. So if you're still in favor of that one, we could add that one. We just have to then decide what order these would fall into.
Okay.
So where's the match coming from?
In kind.
In kind,
In kind, thank you.
yeah,
Right. That was the easy one.
right. Now, CR 304, this came up since the last time we met, so it wasn't on the last meeting, but it is something I guess Senator Leek could get behind and push forward. So this has to do with resurfacing and multiple bridge improvements. I worked with engineering to come up with, so we could show to the commission we have 2 segments of that road. We do have some FDOT money, $2.8 million, and there's a $5 million match already from Flagler County set aside for this project in particular. So the thought was to ask for $5 million to go with our request, because we want to keep it under $5 million total, or for each one. So $5 million we would request for this one. And so we wanted to give you some options, because obviously looking at this, segment 1, the total cost is $8.2 million. Segment 2, the total cost for construction is $31.5 million. So we wanted to give you some options. And so instead of replacing bridges, especially on that segment 2, there's a possibility of just doing some bridge improvements and reducing that cost, instead of being bridge replacement, to bridge improvement. And so the next page, which gives you those options. What happened here? There we go. So here's some recommended options for legislative funding. Based on available funding and priorities, we've identified, working with engineering, 3 options for the commission as far as if you still want to go forward with this as a request to the legislature. You have option 1, which focuses on completing all critical structural work. That means all your bridges. So we would request $5 million. From the legislature, we would provide the match of $5 million, that would be $10 million. And then FDOT is providing the $2.8 million, which is for the road resurfacing. So in what the work would include is segment 1, mill resurface roadway, for that $2.8 million. In segment 1, we would replace the box culvert at an estimated of $2.2 million. And in segment 2, we would retrofit the 3 bridges at an estimated cost of $8 million. So that's where your $12.8 million would go. The remaining work would be the roadway resurfacing for segment 2. And depending on what type of road work you want to do, it can cost anywhere from $8 million to $16 million. If you just want to do a resurface versus a whole, I think it's a reclamation on the roadway, but 8 to 16 million. So that would still be needed. Option 2 focuses on completing all the critical roadway resurfacing work first. It's similar to option 1. The county would request $5 million in legislative funding. We would provide the $5 million match, and of course, FDOT would have the $2.8 million. So the work that would be completed in this option is segment 1, mill and resurface the roadway, provided by FDOT, that 2.8 million. Segment 1, replace the box culvert at 2.2. So basically, segment 1 would be completed. And then on segment 2, we would mill and resurface the roadway with no lane widening, adding shoulders, at an estimated cost of, that's the 8 million versus the 16 million. So the 16 million would include all that road widening and shoulder work. So segment 2 would be partially done. What would be remaining on this particular option is the replacement or retrofitting of 3 bridges. Now, depending on whether you want to just improve these 3 bridges or you want to replace these 3 bridges would make the difference into whether you still have 8 million or 15.5 million. So it's very similar to option 1. What would be remaining, the amount of money would be remaining, but the work that would be remaining would be a little bit different. So option 1 is bridge work, option 2 is roadway work. Option 3 represents a minimal funding request, requires no legislative funding because the project scope is just limited to work already covered by the secured FDOT funding, which is segment 1, mill and resurface the roadway, which is provided by FDOT, and the box culvert replacement segment 1, and all of the segment 2 would remain for future implementation. So those are the suggestions that staff came up with, and I'd really like to hear what the commission has to say on this.
I've sort of got a simple question,
Okay.
because I'm simple. Do we have any kind of study, or what type of traffic is what's going on these roads? Is this mostly haulers, truckers? Is it, residents? Who's using these roads mostly?
Well, we're looking at this also for emergency evacuation because this is an important roadway, but
Right.
I don't know if any study has been done. I know FDOT is putting work into it. Maybe engineering has more that they can add to.
Have something more to add, Hamid? It just seems like a very diverse choice, and
This is on FDOT's 5-year work plan, and that's why they're doing.
we're getting
or
some
paying
money
for
from
the-
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for segment 1.
good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Hamid Tabassian, County Engineer. County Road 304 is a major county road for Flagler. It connects US 1 to State Road 11, and in addition connects to State Road 100 and US 17. As far as the condition of the road is in dire need for resurfacing at this time. If we wait too long, another three years, what we would end up with is the need for full reconstruction. Right now, we are looking at resurfacing. As far as the traffic level on County Road 304, it is not that it's congested.
Right.
It is meets the level of service that we got. It is. I want to say that I don't have the numbers right now in front of me, but the daily traffic on 304, it's not even reaching 2,000 per day on County Road 304. However, because of that connection between US 1 and 11 and other state network, a lot of truckers use 304.
Right.
So that is right now.
That's
our,
heavy wear and tear, and I do understand that. I'm looking at the weight capacity.
Yes.
And are those bridges still safe for them to go across? Have they been inspected? Those kind of things,
Yes.
which has been a problem in
Absolutely.
this country. So I'm just wondering.
Yes, ma'am. The bridges are annually inspected by FDOT,
Okay.
and currently all 3 bridges are in fair condition, in good condition.
Capable.
However, they are obsolete. they do not have the proper standard shoulder and the bridge railing that is required for safety. And that was our recommendation, that at this time, all these three bridges, the roadway and the box culvert in segment 1 of County Road 304, all of these were designed back in 2018, fully designed to replace the bridges, to replace the box culvert, to mill and resurface the section of 304 from US 1 to 11, which is currently a 10-foot wide roadway, to 10-foot, to widen that roadway to 12-foot and add shoulders to the roadway and to the bridges. The section between 11 and 305 to actually do a full depth reclamation that is a more in-depth resurfacing process, not fully reconstruct the road, but which adds to the cost. Right now, if we want to do based on what the design plans that were developed back in 2018, the project is going to cost us total $40 million. That's why we came with that alternative option to retrofit the existing bridges, do a widening of 4 feet, replace the barriers on the bridge for a total of approximately $8 million for just the bridges. And then instead of widening the roadway, also just do the resurfacing. That also cuts the project cost to half, goes to $8 million. So that segment 2, which is in more need of work because of more traffic on it, that total, we can do the work and extend the life of the bridges for another 20 years, get the roadway resurfaced for a total of $16 million. $8 million for bridges, $8 million for roadway, and then the segment 1, which is a shorter segment, 2.5 miles, that we can do the resurfacing and for a $3 million estimated cost. And in fact, we can postpone replacing the box culvert. So that's basically, we know that the funding from the state, from the county, right now, it is challenging for us to come up with $40 million, which is what is really needed. Like I said, 304 is a top priority for the county as far as the need, as far as the traffic and everything else. So this is an alternative plan that we can, and even the $20 million plan that we are putting forward as an alternative would need to be done in phases. Because right now with the $5 million that the county can put forward, if we get a match $10 million and the $2.8 million that the state has already programmed, we have about $13 million, which still we would need to go back and do a second phase, either widening the bridges or resurfacing segment 2 of the 304. So I hope it was helpful.
Okay, so just because I know this area, I lean towards option 2, but you tell me, you're the engineer. Which one do you feel like?
Option 2
Option
was,
2 is the road resurfacing work without the bridges first. Either 1 and 2 are both viable. We have the match. to do these. So, and this is exactly the type of project they would recommend bringing forward. But as an engineer, you know, we look to you to tell us whether it should be one or two, because I don't know the bridges. I know there's been some accidents.
Yeah, if my recommendation would be to do segment 2, but resurface and do that modified widening of the bridges, so it's all done at the same time. We could detour the traffic on 304 for a period of, say, 6 months, getting that entire project done effectively, efficiently. If, again, that requires more than the 13 million that right now these two, option 1 and 2 got. But you ask me, that would be my preference. When I was working with Holly, we were looking at, we got 5 million that we can put forward as a match. The legislators, we didn't want to go more than 5 million. And so we were trying to package this with what we got, 10 million with the, five.
But if we do one, we'll get to mill and resurface the roadway also.
Yeah, absolutely. If I wanted to, based on these 3, I would go with resurfacing segment 2 from US 1 to 11. And resurfacing the entire County Road 304 and replacing the box covers. So we would be left with repairing the bridges.
Okay.
But at this time, we don't need to make that decision to
Right.
which one of these options. It's just a matter of, do we want to go
Full boat or
Forward.
half
We
a
should
and
go
boat?
make
forward. We
this
have a
priority
yeah.
request and get the 5 million? And if we get it, we would have a program that would be about 13 million that could tackle County Road 304.
Yeah, so we already have the 2.8, we have the match for 5. It rises to the level of what Senator Lee had discussed.
Well, we know
and
5 is comfortable for
Right.
them, over 5
we
is
have the
never
money, so
comfortable.
we should definitely push forward.
And what number are you thinking in the county, Madam Vice Chair?
I don't know if we have to, do we have to make the options? Do we have to pick an option here?
No.
Are we picking an option here?
We're not picking, we'll leave it to engineering to determine which one.
You don't have to pick an option. This was just mainly to show you what was possible to
gotcha.
do with the money going forward. Like, we do have alternatives, even though the project, if we did everything, all bridge replacements and road resurfacing would be 40 million. But here's your alternatives if all we have is 13, so. Yeah.
So I would,
Well, that's almost halfway there, so there you go. It's a third of the way there. Okay, thank you so much for the explanation. I'll be driving there tonight.
So at this point, I just need to know from you, because that was the last one, I'm pretty sure, yes. So I just need to know from you, of those, which ones did you want to include as funding priorities and the order, so of priority. So I know we've already ruled out the FGUA. So we still have the Black Branch Stormwater Project.
Yes.
We have the Disaster Resilience Staging Sites and the CR 304.
so my recommendation would be to go with what we have the most match for in order of. So we have a match for County Road 304, 5 to the 5. So we put that first because we're able to say we have a match.
Yes,
Well, it matches.
and it's
then
heavily used, too.
I think it would, after that, be Black Branch and then the staging sites, right?
Yep. Okay. If everybody's good with that, consensus on that?
Just a general comment. Here's another $40 million project that's underfunded, not been on the books since 2018, and all we have is 5 million. So as a board, we're going to have to decide where the priorities are. The wait-and-see approach is probably not going to work here, but a constant work with FDOT on the bridge part, maybe. I know you're working hard on it, but this needs to stay at the top of the radar, in my opinion.
It'll be our top priority, so this way, if we leave it as number one, and if the legislature only provides one, at least we know we're going to get
Right.
that.
That's the most important at this point.
So
It's a high, we'll put it as a high requirement.
I will. And in the unified agenda, I will highlight it as such.
I think it's important too, yeah.
The last thing I have to talk about are the Northeast Florida Regional Council priorities. Every year, we just send them some, again, it's a regional council, so there's 7 counties involved in this. They're going to review what every county sends, and then they're going to pick what are going to be their priorities to push to the legislature. I think that you're going to find SB 180 is probably a big one, and I don't know what the county attorney is going to say on this, but you might want to keep that on here. We always put transportation disadvantage because it affects every county pretty much. But the others are really your call. I usually like to have 3 or 4 for them, but I thought I would get some feedback from the commission on what you'd like to see to push forward to the Northeast Florida Regional Council.
Yeah, I'm fine with all of that. It's just going to the Northeast Florida Regional. So it's not something that is any different than most of the counties are asking about.
Right.
Anybody have any changes there?
I think we discussed that rural designation.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
just
wonder-
going to the council
Yeah, they're
itself,
gonna,
not our.
they're going to
our-
talk about it anyway. I think it covers everything that
They're going to
includes us.
discuss everything that we send forward in this 6 other counties, and then they're going to select based on what is important regionally.
Group,
Yeah,
yes.
for
Okay.
their agenda for the year. So some of ours may not make it to their final agenda, some might.
Okay.
But if you're happy with this, this is what I can send forward to them.
Does anybody see anything else that they think has to go in? I don't. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Sally.
That's it, if you have any
this
other
time-
questions.
I'll go ahead and open item 8A, our legislative items, up for discussion with public comment for 3 minutes per commenter.
Could have got a haircut.
David Eckert, Cali del Sur. At the last meeting, I brought up the issue of supplementing State Statute 161 for critically eroded beach criteria. And I sent an email to the staff, and they have done some additional work on this. I've not heard from legal. I do warn you that if you're going to try to get additional federal areas to the north, that not having critically eroded beach designation greatly hampers the ability to even start a study with the Army Corps relative to eligibility for federal programs. Hamid and engineering have given me some feedback relative to the issues associated with my proposed supplement to 161, and I did send some red line wording to the staff. So it's your decision. It's not the staff's decision relative to whether you may want to make this a legislative priority this year or not. But it will take at least a year for this to take place. And so for Senator Fine or for Greco to take this up and move this forward, or the staff to move it forward, it's a tremendous opportunity for this county to lead this process rather than just the senator and the representative. So you will not qualify for starting the study for the expansion of federalization of the beach unless you get critically eroded beach. Now, the report that Steve and I sent in, 106 pages to FDEP, we did get the gap filled this year. And we have some consideration feedback through the engineering department that they think that the red line proposal has good points in it. They're considering the wording, but for the commission to just let this lay there is exactly how you end up in these situations where you don't have the state and federal support necessary for the future. So I'd like you to ask for a status report, and if you're not going to do anything, then I'll go directly to the senator and the representative myself rather than going through the county. But you should get briefed on this issue and decide whether you want this to be a legislative priority.
Raymond Royer, Painter's Hill section. I kind of support the gentleman's recommendations there. On the Bill 180, I'm opposed that you started even trying to fight this issue. I'm going to say it again. If you see how this bill became about, there was areas in Florida that were devastated by the storms. If you would, for some reason, we don't hear that on the news, what these areas are still trying to build and the issues that they went through. Bill 180 is trying to circumvent those issues, and that's why it was created. Those legislators fought hard to get this 180. You know, you're trying to fight issues for floodplain management, and as far as I'm concerned, you've failed at floodplain management. I mean, I just listened to the city of Palm Coast, where the gentleman coming up there, still trying to get them to fix the flooding issues in Palm Coast. And watching the meeting, it seemed to me it went to deaf ears. And Mr. Leanne, you have flooding issues out in your area. It's just, unfortunately, Florida, like when I put a mailbox in for a friend of mine, I said to him, we're going to probably dig a hole here less than 2 feet, and we're going to hit water. The table water's high here in this area. So once you have heavy rains, that table water's going to go up. And once you go past the threshold, then that's when you create flooding areas. You've got to figure out what the threshold is going to be. I think you need to move the table water and start draining table water out of the ground to accommodate the flood waters coming. But again, it's going to take funding. I'm going to ask you again. Please look at 180 as a perspective how this came about. It just wasn't just thrown up there for to harm our county, and I think if we end up getting hit by a storm, and I want that at all, but I think you would see why Bill 180 was created. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none approach, I'll bring it back to the board.
Yeah, I would like to know why Mr. Eckert's policy position was not at least presented to us as an option for clearly a staff decision for not putting it in here. Could you comment on that?
Yes. So engineering has been working with FDEP, and as of right now, the 25 numbers came out, and 10.3 miles of Flagler County are considered critically eroded beaches. My understanding is that FDEP right now is considering Reach 3 for critical erosion. If they do, it will be added to this, and it's another 5.5 miles of beach, which would bring us to like 15.8 miles of our beach as critically eroded. Now, I know it's not the whole 18 miles, but Ansley, our coastal engineer, did go to, I think it was last Thursday, she went to FDEP in Tallahassee, met with individuals up there about their process on deciding or decision-making on critical eroded beaches. And she met with quite a few people and came back with a lot of information. And the last I heard from engineering was that they're working with Nichols and Moffett to take the information that was provided by Mr. Eckert to come up with some better wording, but the thought was it would be better to work with the FDEP over the course of next year to get the critically eroded, but Hamid could talk to this a little bit more. Last email I received was basically saying that we could wait a little bit longer to find out, but I'm happy to add it if that's what this commission would like me to do. It's not a problem. It will be another policy position. I'll just need the correct verbiage, which they have not decided on yet. So that's where we're at with that one. Did you want Hamid to come up and talk
no,
to?
that's fine. I don't, but somebody else might.
I'm fine. What would it
It's funny
hurt?
because, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Pam.
No, please, I apologize.
The thing on the half-cent sales tax was added since the last discussion, and I did meet with Representative Greco about critically eroded and working with FDEP, and he seems to be very aware of what's happening in Flagler County and the importance of it, but I think a position statement from this board regarding the priority that we have, not knowing or not having a crystal ball on when any of this stuff is going to be determined, it would at least give us a position on where we stand with getting ourselves critically eroded. I would be in favor of working in a policy position statement. I respect very much what Ainsley is doing with both the FDOT and the FDEP. I just think it would be a little bit stronger if it came from the board, as far as what our priority is and where it is. And Reach 3 is definitely a priority.
Sure.
We can throw in Reach 4. Don't know that we'll ever get there with Reach 4. Our policy statement can include that we're working with our consultant. It can mention that we have a coastal engineer on staff that is diligent and understands the process at FDEP, but having them nudge this process along is definitely something that we're going to require down the road. We can't expect our legislators to be proficient in every area, because we certainly aren't. And beach restoration is an area that's pretty tough to manage. And I just see it being an added plus to get these two wonderful people on board with us to help us out.
I have no problem. I can add this if this is what the commission wants.
I think it's paramount that we remind them every time of the need. It's so dire in our community, and it's such a big part of our county that I think it's really important. And I appreciate the time that these two gentlemen spend here every meeting. They don't miss a meeting. As a matter of fact, they're going to get a better attendance than our commission today. So I really think we need to pursue it, because if we don't keep mentioning it, they think we're okay with it. And as long as we're not, if we ignore it, it's gone. So I think that's a great idea. And thank you for bringing that up.
So this is another policy position on Florida Statute
Yeah.
161.101. I need to know from this commission where you would like that in the list, because we have three
We'd have
policy
the
positions right now. At the top, we've got SB 180, SB 1622, and Florida Statute 125. Now, my suggestion would be it kind of goes along with SB 1622, so either you'd put it
Yes.
above or below.
Madam Chair, if I may interject, because I've received some notification from my office, but because we have discussed, staff has discussed this matter with DEP, the details involving these amendments have been broached by DEP, and the determination is that this is actually a matter that's best handled administratively, not necessarily legislatively, and that this is something that's probably best involved with through amendments to the Florida Administrative Code through DEP. And what I've been advised is that the rulemaking in this matter is going to begin in 2027. So because we're looking at more detailed measures, that this is something that involves more of administrative rulemaking to take to those grounds. So that's right now, it's really been kind of open-ended whether we're going to take more the FAC route, Florida Administrative Code route, rather than a statutory amendment to 161. So unless you want to put on hold whether we want to add that to our policy or make it a policy that perhaps we want to get involved in moving DEP to implement their rulemaking authority to amend the FAC to include these specific parameters, that is an avenue we can pursue. But this may be more rulemaking than statutory amendment and implementation.
Yeah, I know Ansley had mentioned in her email that DEP was going to work on this in 2027, but that she thought maybe the policy position might be to get them to work on it sooner.
I think the avenue is actually more administrative than legislative.
Just, look, I don't know if it's a policy position or not. I think everyone thinks if it hits this, it's some magic conversation occurs. When we go to Tallahassee, the conversation is about the projects themselves, because you have 15 minutes. These are really conversations to have one-on-one with them. And to be honest, I'm just telling Mr. Eckert, to be honest, having the meeting with Mr. Greco and them personally in their office, because they see everyone, is the better way to have these conversations, because this goes on a placard, it gets handed to them, they put it with 66 other counties' placards, and then we talk project and we're out, and it's in a 15-minute time frame. And I bet you if any policy position gets taken up, it'll be 180 or 1622 probably. At that point, any of us can start to talk about the issues with 161, whether it's on that card or not, you know. So it's something for us to get something from staff in writing about their position on it. We can take it up with them, but whether it hits the card or not, it's not going to make a huge difference in that conversation. Having the individual conversation about 161 with these gentlemen would be the better way to go.
Why couldn't we do both?
So do we have any talking points on 161?
Well, that's what we need, right?
Yeah, we need
That's
some-
what we need.
Well, I'm going to say,
All
how are
right.
we defining it?
They were working with Nichols and Moffett to get the verbiage refined more on a high level for the statute. What happens in FDEP on an administrative level is much more involved as far as their policy, how they run the process.
But we're 16 days away from that meeting, right?
Yes, I mean, I can, if you want this, I can work with the engineering team to get some verbiage.
Well, we're
for
being
this.
told that it's not legislative.
Right, it's administrative.
So I'm okay with leaving it off, except I do know that our two local representatives are open to critically eroded. So I would like some talking points, and I too will meet with Mr. Leek, Senator Leek, I'm sorry, and refine what I talked to Mr.
Greco?
Yeah, Representative Greco about. I would just like some talking points.
Okay. We can have our staff, our team work on some talking points for the commission so that when you meet with either Senator Leek or Representative Greco, you have it, even if we don't put it on the policy priorities. That's fine.
All right, County Administrator report.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't really have anything to report on, although at the beginning you had asked about the September 15th workshop. It is at 1 p.m. We're looking to have Northeast Florida Regional Council here to provide that comprehensive vulnerability assessment, which includes that compound flooding analysis. So they're going to be here to present that. And then we're also going to be looking at Bulow Regional Park. And that's really a comprehensive look at not just the regional park, but looking at it as a trailhead, trail connectivity with county, city, and state trails, as well as the eco-discovery system and tie into the pedestrian bridge. So we'll have a consultant here working with staff to kind of go over that. So that's the topics that we have for that. I have nothing further.
Thank you. County Attorney report.
Kind of piggybacking on the legislative items discussion. So yesterday, I attended we had a conference call of the Community and Urban Affairs Committee of the Florida Association of Counties, and they were already discussing and preparing what is going to be the legislative priorities of the FAC for the upcoming legislative session. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss those items that each county submitted to them as part of their policy issues, policy statements. Our policy statements regarding SB 180 were accepted as part of their priorities. So ours were, I don't want to say lumped in, but ours, along with Charlotte counties and Pasco counties, were accepted as one large request as a priority to put forth to the legislature our requests for those changes. They were specifically enumerated, especially our three recommendations, which were listed earlier. So our narrowing the scope of the preemption of land use regulations, our shortening the duration of preemption, and our eliminating of Section 2, prohibiting the county from enforcing floodplain management, were listed among the other ones that other counties have requested for amendments of section of SB 180. So the FAC is going to be carrying also our mantle as part of their lobbying efforts for the legislature. It was asked, how are the winds blowing as the legislative session is preparing for next year? They're seeing it as many legislators are actually coming up to them wondering and asking what have they voted for. Many of them weren't actually fully aware of the repercussions of their vote. So there may be some opportunities for a glitch bill to come in to revise 180. Now there's a difference between what they're being told and what may actually happen when it's time to vote. But we will continue work with FAC as one of our ways of moving forward. You did ask in regards to the class action lawsuit. Last week, both Orange County and Manatee County voted to join in the class action lawsuit. So they are now the two counties that are part. I think Lake County is still considering it. I don't think they have voted yet. Everything I've looked has showing that they're still considering it. So Manatee and Orange are the two counties. One of the Orange County commissioners was on our conference call yesterday, and she explained that Orange County's approval is financially, they're in for $10,000 flat fee for the litigation, and then it's a $5,000 flat fee if the appeal goes to the District Court of Appeals, with an additional $5,000 flat fee if the appeal goes to the Supreme Court. So if a local government is in all the way to the finish line, it's a $20,000 flat fee. It is your prerogative whether or not you as a county wish to join in the lawsuit. Any impacts of those, I would probably feel more comfortable discussing with each of you on an individual basis, because there are certain pratfalls that I feel more comfortable discussing with each of you individually in regards to what participation in the class action lawsuit would entail. But that was the gist of our conference call. It was a 1-hour conference call. FAC has 8 priorities that they're presenting to the legislature. This is one of their main ones. Some of the other issues are some issues that could affect us, but they did accept our policy positions as regards to 180, and they will be carrying them forward.
Thank you. I think I would appreciate one-on-one time talking about the pratfall. I got the sense that they need a whole lot more counties and municipalities to join to bring that lawsuit forward, but.
I think it would make financial sense for the firm to have
Right.
a lot more
That's what
folks
it read
join.
like, yeah, so I'm not sure it's.
Right, to my knowledge, I think they have 2 counties. I was trying to keep a count. Just on what I've got is the other cities that I can tell, the city of Alachua, it's not Alachua County, it's the city of Alachua has joined, city of Deltona, city of Stewart, city of Windermere, and city of Lake Park, which is in Palm Beach County, are other cities that have already passed resolutions to join in the litigation so far.
Anything on the West Coast?
I haven't seen, aside from Manatee County, I haven't seen anything, but I can keep looking. I'll keep looking to see if I'll try to come up with a roster of the cities that have joined. If not, I may just call the firm. I actually know the attorneys. I've worked with the attorneys at Weisserota before in the past, and so I know them, so I can make a phone call to see who's joined.
Yeah, we're hoping they fix the bill soon, so, okay. I'm going to take it back out to public comment before the commissioners speak. We're opening up for community outreach. This is a 30-minute time period allotted for public comment for items not on the agenda. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes.
Raymond Royer, Painters Hill section. I'm allowed to talk about the beach, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, the millage that you're talking about, I've been talking to some neighbors, and I've been coming to these meetings, county meetings, and it was nice to see that the corporated side, like Flagler and Beverly Beach, and everybody that's corporated, had the opportunity to sit at the table. Unfortunately, Painters Hill at one time was corporated, but became uncorporated, and I'm trying to revive that. So you'll probably see a permit coming through to try to get that permitted, because we need to get, this is a good prime example with this village coming to face us, that we need to get representation, because unfortunately we're uncorporated just like the county, and we've been unrepresented by the county. So we need to become corporated. With the beach process, I believe Greg Hansen had navigated the ship to ground, and the reason why, I just can't believe this whole plan was not phased in to make a complete completion. I don't know how we ended up getting 7 versions of tax revenues to come up with the money. You are in the leadership, and we vote you in to make strong leadership decisions. If you're in here to make careers, then you're probably going to get voted out, because you need to step up. And maybe you'll have to do a millage across the whole county, because obviously the infrastructure through the whole county with today's presentation is falling apart everywhere. We're crippling everywhere, and we're putting Band-Aids and doing this taxation and doing that taxation. I think you really need to do a comprehension plan to really look at the whole county and bring the beach and the west side of the county in, because we have definitely seen an infrastructure collapse here in the county, and you really got to get a grip. And I was really upset to just listen to the flood people that are the agencies that you have, the party that's that talk about the floods. It just made me laugh when they said they're not going to even consider anymore for the canal anymore. I forget what it's called now. The barrier walls for the canal. They're not even considering that anymore. And everybody knows that they know the water's going to be rising soon. It's just showing. It's coming. I mean, the river is going to rise. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. We'll start with commissioner comments. Ms. Richardson.
I go first. Wow, I don't know what to do being first. I'm thrilled to be here today. We had a wonderful, busy week with a lot of things going on. The city of Bunnell opened their administrative building. I was thrilled to be there. The other 2 commissioners are not here with me now, so I'm sharing with you. It's a lovely building. They did it under budget and in time, under time and under budget. So I award them for that and respect that they had their eye on the prize. It was a wonderful opening. We had a lot of people there. Our Congressman Fine showed up to all of the events last week. He's been an active player. He got us some great funds. I won't take away the option for the county administrator to discuss that, but it was a wonderful opportunity for us to finally get attention. It was on Channel 13 for 3 days, and all the news stations were carrying it, so we got some PR on something positive, because I love positive news. We've just had a great week. There's a lot of events coming up in the next months, so you're going to see a tremendous amount. There's a Benel Festival, an Italian festival on October 10th. The Creekside is November 4th and 5th. There's so much going to be happening that we're going to be in a whirlwind before you know it. We're going to be in the middle of the holidays, and hopefully we can get most of our heavy loads done in the next 30 days so we can move ahead towards a kinder holiday rather than mayhem and happiness. So thank you, everybody, for being here today as well. That's it.
Ms. Carney.
Thank you. After the budget, or during the budget process, I was curious about our pay plan or our pay schedule for our employees. So I reached out to Charlie in HR and asked for a pay plan. And I was provided a multiple-page pay plan. It's interesting. And then I looked at the Doge report to see current salaries, loaded and unloaded. And I asked the question of when was the last time we had a salary study? A salary study is not a pay plan, and it's okay if we don't have one. I'm fine with that. But I would like to see the county develop a pay study or salary study. A salary study can be done internally if you've got someone that can access public data on the different sector jobs. Evidently, one was done several years ago. Don't know where it is. Don't know if we have access to it. I would like this topic also workshopped with a presentation in the near future. I also would like to know how the minimum, midpoint, and maximum pay plan is established based on, I'm sure it's based on level of experience, how many years they, where they come in with or without a degree, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But some of these salary ranges are as much as $50,000. So minimum, midpoint, and maximum in my career has been a lot tighter. Again, it's more of an educational thing as we move into next year's budget. As we all know, salary, employee benefits is the biggest expense we have. We can call out all of the elected or constitutionals that we want and how expensive they are, but our own bottom line is salaries and benefits. So I just wanted to clarify, I'd like to ask for, if it's not budgeted, then we would need to know what it would cost to get a salary study being compared to other public entities, Palm Coast. We're not going to have a one-on-ones category for employees, but if we could group them together and at least get an idea of, we don't have a massive exodus from our county to other municipalities for jobs, so we must be paying okay. But I'd like to see a study. Anyone? Come on up, Charlie. I said your name, right?
How's it going? Charlie Picano, HR Director. I mean, partly I agree with your interpretation of like looking at the pay plan identifying that there hasn't been a study in a long time. When I first came on, that was one of the first things I looked at and I brought to administration's attention is, when was the last time we did a study on our pay plan? Something we need to do is look at it and identify, is it comparable to other counties, and then maybe even some private employers. I don't know yet. But that's something we've already been working on. I have a meeting with a company on Monday to talk about, their company's a little different. They don't do in 2019, we had a full pay review where a company called Evergreen looked at every single job, every single classification, and then they recommended all those pay scales that you see now. They've been adjusted over time with the COLA every year, obviously prior to me being here. But the company I'm meeting with does it a little differently. They let you pick a few different, I think like 7 different counties, and they'll pull all the positions and you can compare them. So we could do it internally. I just want to see what it looks like first, what they offer. So something we're already working on, something I'm happy to explain more, and something that I've already
Who's the company,
identifying.
Charlie? Who's the company you're hired?
I know, you had it off the top of my head. I
Sorry.
can't remember. It's True Comp.
True
True Comp.
Comp?
COMP?
Yep, COMP. And like I said,
So that'll be coming to us somewhere, so I'm asking for something you're already working on.
Yeah,
number one.
and it's, I don't know if that's something that, if you want it to be a deliverable and something we could bring forward. For me, this first meeting is just to see if that company is even worth pursuing.
Okay.
And if their technology is useful to us and something that we'd actually use to review our pay plan. If not, we'd have to find some other company or find a different alternative. But they're pretty costly. I think the last one was like $50,000 to review. So
So
done in
is
19.
this a personal goal of for your department, for you and your department for 2026 that you've shared with admin?
Yeah.
That you're going to accomplish this study this
Yeah,
year?
it's actually, we just talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Perfect.
And I talked about it, like I said, before that with them. We originally were going to meet with this company in July, and we had to postpone the meeting. So, but yeah, it's something that I've already identified, something I've already looked at, and it makes sense. If it was 5 years ago, we need to review it and make sure everything's still in line, one way or another. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll wait to, I won't ask for a consensus for a workshop if we're already working on it. I'm glad we're doing that.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. My next item talks about the joint workshop between municipalities from August the 28th. There was very little discussion during that workshop about the MSBU for the 2 municipalities that are going to be impacted or may not be impacted by the beach funding plan and their participation in it or not. I was wondering if there was any flavor for a joint workshop with Flagler Beach and a separate joint workshop with Beverly Beach to go over the details and the importance of beach maintenance and MSBU in their areas. There is a deadline requirement for notifying the state of an MSBU through a resolution that we did last year in December to set up the MSBU for the Northern 10, but there does not seem to be any momentum or any action towards the same happening in the 2 municipalities, actually 3 if you count Marineland, to make this funding plan a 18-mile funding plan. They can't, in my opinion, Flagler Beach can't speak for Beverly Beach. Beverly Beach can't speak for Flagler Beach. The county can't speak for Flagler Beach. I just think it's time for us to come together, work out some of these variables that still remain in the beach management funding plan. And because there's a deadline in December, I was hoping this would happen sooner rather than later. I asked Flagler Beach to ask for one. It doesn't look like they're going to ask for one, so I'm asking for one.
Right, because in that, if you'll watch that group, they seem to think that if they do an MSBU, it's 2029. Am I right on that?
No.
Eric Cooley mentioned 2029. It shows them, and I'm sorry, we don't have the,
That's only for the maintenance part.
yeah, they don't anticipate, I don't think, doing an MSBU sooner. They have no intention.
Again, there's so many things that are left to staff discussions with staff. I think it's time for the boards to come together and have a discussion on MSBU, maintenance, all of the above, interlocal agreements, how we move forward, but to wait for a potential referendum in 2026 that would hit in 2027, we just keep kicking this thing down the road. I don't interpret what we funded in 2026 because we lost the MSBU in 2026 as far as I'm concerned. But I did not see where anybody was jumping on board to figure out how to get this done.
So in agreement with the MSBU for Flagler Beach, Beverly Beach, but there are other issues that need to be worked out before we even talk about the referendum. Your current half sales tax that's going into this plan, there's a current one that we have that we're allotting funding from. It expires in 2032. The one being proposed it could be a 20-year, but it's being proposed as a 6-year, which makes it expire at the same time the other half cent is expiring. Okay? It's being done as infrastructure. It has to be done as infrastructure. It can't be done solely as beach because of the interlocal agreements, correct, Ms. Petito? It has to be done as an infrastructure tax, a half-cent tax.
The current one is set up as infrastructure, and it includes a variety of things,
Right.
like your roads, your stormwater, and it calls out beaches, public facilities. If you were to do the second one, there was a discussion whether or not it was solely for the beach. However, the way statute is written, the cities are entitled to their share, which makes it somewhat problematic if Palm Coast doesn't have a beach and they would be expecting to receive theirs back. So you would need some sort of an interlocal agreement to spell that out.
So it has to be done as infrastructure. So now we have 2 half-cent sales taxes, one expiring in 2032. The new one that is being proposed would also expire in 2032. So you're going to have a future board that has to decide on 2 half-cent sales tax. Both half-cent sales tax are for infrastructure, meaning at any time, if I'm not here, you're not here, we don't have a commitment, any board can say, I'd really rather do County Road 304 than the beach, and can pull the funding right out from underneath you. But in 2032, you're going to be right back here again with your argument about the half cent. Then you have the TDT funds, which I would argue we can continue to push to the beach. But then you have millage, which is your general fund, your ad valorem. Everyone in the county pays ad valorem. You have that in this plan. At any time, any future board can say, I don't want to fund the beach this year, and your plan goes out the window. Or I need to cut, or values and properties are down, or whatever their excuse is. You wouldn't get the funding. So again, then that brings you your MSBU. I heard a lot of people say it's going to be $160 because somewhere it got trapped in their brain. At any time, in my opinion, that MSBU can be adjusted because now you're dealing with contracts on projects that are going to change every year as a contract comes in. I've never seen sand and labor go down. It only goes up. So you're going to have future boards that don't have real dedicated funding This is not real dedicated funding for a beach. It's a board committing to funding a beach. That's going to change every 2 years. And we're also tied to cities, municipalities on their interlocal agreements. And we're asking the current board in Palm Coast to sign an interlocal agreement on a referendum, or even if we did pass it, but this board has said 4-1, we're not passing it. Even if we did pass it, we're asking them to sign an interlocal to pledge a portion of their shares over, but it hasn't been determined whether or not we can do the interlocal before we do the referendum. And if that's not the case, then they're going to have a new board who never looked at the beach issue by the time we get done with referendum. So if it passes in the referendum, we're going to be looking at a new Palm Coast board, new people who now have to decide whether or not they're going to give up their half cent because they can keep it for infrastructure, and they need it for infrastructure like everyone else. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's a plan because we're not like other counties. We don't have the revenue that other counties have. We just don't have that revenue. We don't have the tourism tax that the other counties have. We don't have high millage. We don't have a lot of business here. We could go into all of that, but people pushing the half-cent sales tax, it was proposed as being 6 years, which would have it expiring at the same time as the other half-cent sales tax. All the other funding outside of the MSBU and the TDT, any board can pull from you at any time. So I think being upfront about that, and that's just my take on it. Maybe someone else has a different take, and I'm open to Ms. Carney and Ms. Richardson, and I'm sorry they're not here for this discussion. Anytime this board can decide it's not the priority of the day, or anytime the contracts and the sand and the work can go up and the money not be there for it anyways. And I almost, sometimes I look at it and I think this might be a little overfunding of it because you've got a large stretch of A1A, that's the state's problem. You have state parks in the Reach 4. Some of it's plugged in, but it's a little wonky to me that, and I know we have to have the talk about the referendum, so I'll save that for when our board is back. But when I hear people talk about the half cent, I'm like, do you know the half cent's for infrastructure, not beach? Any board can spend it any way they like. And by the way, it expires at the same time the other half penny expires, which will create a board that has to get on board with 2 half pennies at the same time. And I don't know that for folks that live on the barrier island, I don't know how to commit to you. So we would have to get to a point where we codify all of these other dedicated funds before you go forward. And if you're putting the half penny out for referendum, you should do it for the full 20 because now you're asking 2 boards to put half penny back at the same time, the way that they've structured this. So when people ask me why, Leanne, and I also have thank you for bringing up the West, we have $80 million stormwater plan out there because they're being engulfed by the lakes and the St. Johns River. And they're trying to make a living with their farms on top of it. So that's my take on the half penny. It sounds good in theory. It's just a 5-year plan in hope that future boards don't come up with revenue shortages and have to take from your beach. So
thank you, Ali. I get where my point on this and the clarity that I personally need moving forward has to do with both these municipalities understanding the MSBU. I do not want to discuss the half-cent sales tax. They got it. We got it. We understand. The only thing in our plan right now in Flagler County is the MSBU. I need to hear from Flagler Beach and Beverly Beach what their position is on the MSBU and whether or not they're going to be included in our engineering study as to what type of levy that amount would be. If the other municipalities do not wish to come on board, then we are looking at a Northern 10 plan that we started with over a year and a half ago. That's all I need to know. Where are we? Where are we? The county cannot levy a tax on any other municipality. An MSBU, an MSBU. Where are you, Flagler Beach? Where are you, Beverly Beach? I don't want to hear, or we may discuss it, I don't know. What do you think of our funding? Because we tried that already, and that doesn't work. So I just need to hear where our resources are going to be spent, and if we need to go back to our original Northern 10. The only way to do that is with 10 elected officials that have voting power to sit in a room and discuss it. That has not happened. That has not happened in 2.5 years. I'm ready. That will give us direction on where we need to go for next year in our MSBU and what our constituents in the Northern 10 have to look forward to. It also helps us plan for future use of FDEP money. If we can't control the maintenance and we can't control the dedicated funding source, then we can only control what we can control, which is the Northern 10. So there's lots of personalities. There's 15 other elected officials that in total, I need to meet with them. I need to understand what they know and what they believe is best for their community. Because we can't set it for them, correct?
That's correct. The MSBU, we can't set.
And can I just throw one thing in?
Sure.
I have seen hours and hours of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's causing the stress and the duress from the residents that are reading this. And it's constant, and it's daily, and it's not factual. And we're not getting the facts out the way we need to put them out. And that's been a problem for quite a while already. And maybe we need a commission on the beaches of just commissioners that are a joint group. But if other people don't own their land and they don't want to participate, what are our rights to do? What can we do with that? How do we proceed at all? If it's all argumentative, Kim, I think what you said was very, very bright, and maybe we need another type of a board that will meet as a beach commission. We have a renourishment, we hired somebody to do this, and it's constant infighting or misinformation. So everybody's in, well, what are we going to do? I've been here, 9 months, 10 months? This has been going on for 8 or 9 years. When does it stop? It's a circle. What's the answer? I don't know what the answer is. I wish I could tell you. But I'm very confused about to why we can't get settled, at least with our municipalities, to get into agreement of what we can do. I just don't understand why.
Because to Ms. Carney's point, we need to know if they're willing to pledge X amount of dollars to the plan. If not, then we need to go with our Northern 10 to begin with.
Well, it's time to get there.
Okay.
It's time to get
And
there.
in order to do that, the joint meeting was not sufficient because you don't have a voting block that can make and commit to a decision.
And I would not want two people from this board deciding for me either. We need 5 and 5. We need 5 of us along with the 5 at Palm Coast. We don't need Palm Coast right at this moment. I'm sorry. We need Flagler Beach. They have 5 plus a mayor. Invite the mayor. I got no problem with that. And then we have us 5 and Beverly Beach 5.
Why would you exclude Palm Coast?
At this point, Pam, we're only talking about an MSBU, and
Okay.
Palm Coast cannot.
Okay, well, that's the
Yeah.
answer. Let's
Right.
get the information
Right.
out there because
Or Palm Coast might become involved once we get through our engineering study. And what if the engineering study says the benefit unit goes all the way out to 95? Then we have another whole
that's
can
a
of
whole nother
beans.
story, right?
And we have to discuss the
Current
taxing-
situation.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Now, I have no problem stepping up and making the big boy decisions and putting my big boy pants on, but if the information that I have is not adequate for me to make the decision, I'm not rushing to decision. That's the way I operate, so therefore, I would like to ask something else. I would like to ask for the administrator, the coastal engineer, who I have no control over, so that will have to go through Mrs. Petito, and our attorney's definition of what a dedicated funding source is. I would like to know the definition of a dedicated funding source, and I would like to know how it is used within the beach project in writing before September 10th. So, Chair, I'm going to look to you to ask for consensus. I know there's only 3 of us. I don't see the other 2 commissioners not wanting to meet with board to board with Flagler Beach and Beverly Beach, but if you want to hold off until the next meeting, I'm fine with that. I don't recommend it, but if that's all I'm going to get out of this board today is a push-off, that's fine, but I would like a consensus on whether or not Mrs. Petito should be setting up meetings with these other 2 municipalities.
That's fine.
I think it has to be done.
Can we have a consensus call for an agreement to have a meeting with all commissioners from our board and Flagler Beach and Beverly Beach? The meeting can be separate. That would be best to address MSBU and TUs. Ms.
I have
Carney, you agree?
consensus.
I'm fine with that.
You agree? I agree. If we could do that. I feel like we need to really get them nailed down into the plan. I don't get a good feeling out of Flagler Beach one way or the other what they want us to do.
Well, let's not assume anything. Let's just go open-minded and think
Yep.
we're going to make it happen. Let's make it happen
And the next
instead
board
of worry
meeting, we
about
can
it.
talk about the
result.
the half penny and
Mm-hmm.
all of that, when the
And
gentlemen are
then,
back.
in continuation of, yes, the beach is consuming just about every waking hour at this point, but in continuation, I did request a copy of the notice of special assessment. I did receive it from the attorney. I will say that I've already said this, I did not receive a copy of it. It would have been nice to have a copy of this ahead of time before it went out. I'm not on the Barrier Islands, so I unfortunately did not receive, I am in Flagler Beach, but they wouldn't have gotten it anyway, so. Number 2, although there were questions and answers attached to the letter, which I think were very well done. There are still people in the Northern 10 that do not understand our plan, or they have not been watching. So I requested a copy of every single meeting that took place, along with the handouts, and I was handed a notebook this thick. So, I think Ms. Petito mentioned in an article or in something recently that there were 88 such informational, cooperative, this has been going on for 2.5 years. So, if people are not in the know, if people in the Northern 10 did not answer the survey, if people in the Northern 10 aren't informed, shame on us. However, I believe there's adequate information out there, and maybe a redo, or maybe part of this, now that it's on the agenda for September 11th, maybe a redo or a recap on what we have done in this county to come up with what we have done regarding the MSBU that was voted on last December. Maybe there needs to be some allocated time for people to come up to speed on where we are.
Would you be talking about a timeline, Kim?
Well, no, it's evidently the MSBU is going to be discussed on September 11th, which is
No,
our
a timeline of the history, what you
Yeah,
just
there's
done.
pretty much a timeline already put out there. It's pretty intense, but it's out there. Number 3, there are no clear benefits to what an MSBU is in this letter. I attest to that. I searched for it. There is a lot of emphasis on revenue and not on why there's a benefit to an MSBU. The only sentence highlighted in this letter was what happens if you fail to pay. I think that we need to, again, highlight the benefits and be prepared to discuss with the constituents how the county feels about this and what the county, we need to talk to people about what has been taking place here for the last 2.5 years. And then my last item is, as we go into legislative update, session, feedback, lobbyist, Florida League of Counties, I just had a comment, don't know how other people feel about it, but I'm getting 3 newsworthy reports every week between Ms. Hawley's update, the League of Counties update, and our lobbyist update. Do we need to receive all that information? Is there not one source that's better than them all? Can we relieve Hawley of having to do the same thing that everybody else is doing? Is there anything that locally specific? Obviously, I mean, we're getting all this information times 3.
Repetition on everything.
Is that a policy that we have? Is that a?
I think it was a request of the board because they didn't feel like they were getting timely information. It was, I think, a year ago, so Holly had started ramping up more communication in the way of spreading the legislative stuff. If you feel that it's adequate what you're getting through FAC and our lobbyists, by all means, we don't need to duplicate their efforts, so.
Thank you.
Any feeling on that as we move forward?
My only feeling is I think the other commissioners, they're not here to say they appreciate it or not. If it's taking too much of her time up, maybe she could streamline it or lessen it, you know.
Are we actively, do you, just the two of you for today, are you actively engaged in following all of the
I use Chris
bills?
Doolin.
I'm sorry?
Chris
The Chris
Dolan.
Doolin email is
Fabulous.
He's
fantastic.
brilliant. He's brilliant, and he's precise, short, sweet, and to the point. Everything you want to know is there,
and he links you to it
and you've always got a background to it.
one-liners. He gives you the one-liner.
Yeah, he
and
just lets you know.
So
these are the top of
I'm
the-
comfortable with that, but maybe that's something Holly can just take off and ask the other commissioners, because I don't want to interrupt
Right.
feedback they need. Just to piggyback on Ms. Carney's question of what is a dedicated funding source for state and federal funding, I think I know the answer to a lot of this, but can we also look at what it's going to take to codify the rest of the funds?
Yep.
So that they have a real beach plan, what we think we'd have to do to set aside ad valorem, so that other boards couldn't interrupt
switch
the
it.
funding.
Right.
You know, so especially what we would need to do with our portion of the half-cent sales tax, how do we codify that? How do we codify the TDT? How do we codify the millage? So that people paying an MSBU are going to feel comfortable that the other funding is sitting there for them, so that they at least have the sense, a good sense, that every future board is going to have millage and sales tax set aside for the beach.
If they see that it's earmarked, it gives you a sense of comfort. And that's not out there right now.
Well, there's comments
what it
that
needs
we're
to be
writing
codified.
ourselves a blank paycheck or a blank check.
There's all kinds of
I
comments.
know,
You
but
can't even go
I
on.
think,
I just,
again,
someone said we want to be career. I have a career outside of here. I ran because I couldn't see what was occurring in the Westward District. I didn't want to see building and things of that nature. I have a career outside of this. What I don't want to see for the beach is you think you have a funding plan that's going to be there forever for you, and it isn't.
that's right.
So happy to fund a beach, but somebody to replace me, somebody to replace anybody
Oh,
on
yeah,
here,
we're
and
replacing.
game on. Your funding could go somewhere else. So that's
all I have. Thank
that's
you.
my
That's
take.
very valuable.
will
Thank you for
take-
bringing that up. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I will take a motion to adjourn. I'm done. Did
So
you want
moved.
more from me? I don't think so.
Get more of you later.
Motion to adjourn. Adjourn.
Thank
Okay,
you.
We're adjourned.
I got to find out what's going on with my work now.